All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Off Camber Podcast, episode 10. This is TC. This is post Bahrain Grand Prix. We're in a new setup here, as you can see. We've got a Shane back in our comfy chairs, mate.
Yep.
Welcome to the pod.
Much comfier.
Welcome to the new studio. So, yeah, good race over the weekend this time around, and I was fairly happy with how things went. What about you, overall perspective?
When I was watching it, because I had to watch the replay the morning after, because
Likewise.
it's not. I don't have it in me anymore to stay up till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, so
Start a
the
race.
start time was two o'clock for us.
Yeah, which
So
for 3:30 bedtime.
so for a 5:30 wake up from me, I was not staying up to watch that.
No,
So I also watched a replay of the race.
but definitely the best race of the season is the one we didn't get to watch live.
Really? Okay. I thought China was pretty good. But
Really?
Actually no. This was better than China.
Yeah.
What's your off the bat, what's your rating out of 10 for the race?
Compared to what we've seen so far, or just the rating blanket scale.
Well, doesn't. Well, I mean, we haven't really done a rating for every race,
Yeah,
so
it's a new segment.
So new segment, fuck it. Out of 10, just out of 10, but each race on its own merit.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Give it a 6.5.
6.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll give it a. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I thought it was pretty good.
Someone
And
was
obviously,
a belter.
yeah. Well, Piastri won, so
Yeah.
I thought that was a good touch for us, at least anyway. Very happy with that. And yeah, we got 2 predictions each. So let's go through our predictions for the weekend. We can go through Shane's first, and he's clean sweeped both pole and winner.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about yourself?
Chuffed.
He's secretly chuffed. He's secretly chuffed. He had Oscar Piastri for pole and race win.
And the win, yeah.
Oscar Piastri won, took pole, so I'll pay that credit where it's due. You've done well there, mate. So I went for Norris for the win and Russell for pole. Russell got close. Russell's been driving the wheels off it. And unfortunately,
the car, I'd say.
Yeah, 100%. And he came close, but ultimately didn't get pole. Norris, starting from 6th, obviously, made his way through to 3rd. Probably could have been a 2nd without the 5-second time penalty he got, but is what it is. And then I had 2. I reckon I'm claiming 2 dubs for the class and run wide for this one. So I had Stroll for run wide, did absolutely nothing. So claiming that one. And Ollie Behrman for class drive. He ran a ripper race and got through to the points. So
started last, did he?
Yep. Started last, got through to the points. So good on him for that. And yeah, it was really a good race. A lot more overtaking, which is what everyone wanted after Japan, I think. I feel like everyone sort of received Bahrain a lot better this time with all the overtakes. So we'll go through the weekend a bit more in detail now and give our takes on what's going on. Do you want to talk about? Let's talk about practice for a little.
Practice.
Yeah.
I'll watch practice 1. I watch all 3 live.
So I've told Shane that it's his. I've told
Practice
Shane that
in my
practice
segment.
is yours.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch practice. I was working. So practice. Fernando's steering wheel fell off.
Fernando's steering wheel fell off.
Yep.
They tried to split Antonelli's car in half and they couldn't.
Yep.
He overheated after, I think, 2 laps in
Yep.
P1.
Yep.
And then they showed the Merc garage and they had mechanics on both ends of the car.
Were they trying to cover it up?
They had a wall of blokes like a soccer free kick.
Wall of blokes to cover it up.
Yeah, and Yeah, no, you just saw a group of mechanics on each end bouncing on the car to try and split it.
Oh, like to pull the gearbox
Yeah,
or
to pull the gearbox and the engine apart.
shit.
Yeah.
There you go. So I believe McLaren looked quicker than everyone else in practice.
Oh, that's another thing as well. McLaren either had an issue or an upgrade that they wanted to put on the car.
Yep.
So teams get curfews of how long they can stay at the track for and work on the car.
Yep.
But then 3 times a year they're allowed to go out of those restrictions.
Yep. Yep.
And they used one of them this weekend.
Cool. Which probably, I guess, paid off for them because they got the dub. Probably should have been a 1-2 in terms of pace, but Norris sort of compromised himself in qualifying. So in quali, it was a good qualifying. Tsunoda got through to Q3, sorry, and Red Bull were having a issue with the brake pedal. Was it both? I think it was just Verstappen, actually.
Verstappen was more verbal about it.
Yeah, but it could have been both cars. Yeah. With the pedal going long or something like that. But Alpine also came out the gate strong with pace. Got through to Q3 as well for the first. No, not for the. Was it for the first time?
Would have been.
No. I honestly.
No, Australia, he was at the back.
Yeah. So Alpines came with a quick package. McLaren's were quick out the gate, as per usual, as we'd expect. Lawson got out of Q1, but didn't do much after that. And yeah, it was good to see Tsunoda getting into Q3 and actually having a good crack at it because I feel like out of the three, he's probably the most deserving to be there in terms of, at least so far from what we've seen.
Out of the Red Bull drivers?
Yeah. He's made his, stamp, I guess, as like he's performed the best. So hopefully that trend continues. And yeah, so Piastri came through with a belter of a lap. He said there was still a little bit more in the car, which was interesting. They put a 10.5 in between him and Russell. So he was bloody quick and Norris binned it. And that was essentially probably the difference between him winning or losing.
Yeah.
Because probably, it wasn't necessarily a qualifying race in Bahrain, but probably out of the McLarens, we know that they like to do team orders and shit like that. So, whichever one is going to be in front is probably going to be the one that's got the advantage at the end of the day.
I feel like that's how they're going to set their team orders this year. It's whoever's ahead at turn 1 or after turn 1.
Exactly. And if you're sort of ahead, if you've got that lead, they're not. It seems like they're not really willing to change the order up and mix things up, which is potentially one of their downfalls in terms of drivers' championship.
Which they just take points off each other.
Exactly. So, like what we're seeing now is, Norris has extended the gap. He extended the gap to second place in the championship this weekend. So he was up from Verstappen
he was up by 1 point. Now he's up by 3.
But instead of Verstappen, it's Piastri there. So, sure, like both McLarens are at the top of the table, but Russell isn't far behind. Verstappen's not far behind. And they always will be close because, one race you'll have Piastri taking the points. The other race it's going to be Norris. So they're always going to keep each other down. But the team is looking like it's already going to blow away the championship at this point at least. Until we see different upgrades or stuff like that. At the moment, it's looking all McLaren. So good for me, good for Piastri. Loving it.
Makes for a good season because we'll probably see when that closes out towards, what is it? Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's probably going to be big changes and hopefully, we get a little bit of order, something a little bit different in the order because in Spain, obviously, there's going to be the new regulations coming. So reducing the flexi wings. But yeah, and we're on to the race now. What did you think of the race there or overall?
Race was very good to watch.
Yeah. I thought so too.
Yeah.
And lots of overtaking. Also, before we go into the F1 race, how about the fucking F2s?
Oh yeah.
We watched the F2 race, and usually I'm not really in tune with F2.
If you ask me to name 5 drivers, I'm done.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
Marty's up there though.
Pepe Marty, yeah,
Yeah.
he was a favorite for me as well. But yeah, so F2 was bloody incredible. The overtaking, the defense, it was real like desperate driving, which is like
Yeah.
which is good when it's under control. You know, that's when we get the best racing because you're seeing dive bombs, it's really like racecraft.
It's a good mix between Formula One and like a sim racing pub lobby where it's just
Yeah, it's a good blend. But
yeah.
you see like sort of how you can sort of see how drivers are thinking about setting up their moves because like there's a lot of thought patterns when they're going around the laps of where people are slow, where people are fast, how they're going to get the job done, and you can just sort of see that emerging as the race goes on.
You
Which
see it in
really
a
good.
pack as well where there'd be 2 cars ahead of each other. They're fighting for position. The one car that's behind then sees, all right, if they're going at it,
Yeah,
I've got a chance to take 2 posies here. And we saw it happen in both races.
yeah, no, exactly. It was bloody entertaining. So really happy with that, and I'll definitely be watching the F2
Yeah.
next time around because that was awesome. The F1s was a interesting start. There was a lot of lockups I noticed at the front. Also, the production was crap. I'm
What'd you
sure.
see?
Well, with the transponders, so they had issues with the transponders of the cars, which is where how like Russell.
That's with the
all of a
team
sudden
though, isn't
fell
it?
off.
Because
Yeah, but but the cars all have the same like
Yeah.
transponders in them, and then the broadcast was showing replay when it was like live.
we
And
didn't have
then
a live timing sheet either, so
no,
we can see the gaps.
exactly. And then yeah, they put it in the bottom right corner, like the lead,
Yeah,
the
after
order.
every lap when Oscar would go by,
Yeah,
you get the new.
yeah, and it was a little bit disappointing,
I
but
thought Russell DNF'd for a good
yeah,
lap.
yeah, because I was at work, I looked down and I came back and Russell was last, and I was like, no way, like something's happened.
Yeah, he's down the bottom, but there's no yellow flag
Yeah,
anywhere.
exactly. And then at the start of the race, Norris copped the 5 seconds, being out of position at the grid. He like rolled forward, and then that sort of put him over the line. He didn't actually jump the start, but his car was forward of the line, so his front tires were over.
Max snitched on him as well.
Oh yeah, Max is bloody good at seeing everything.
Yeah.
So he's a weapon. I don't know how he sees all that stuff.
I was watching an interview with an engineer from Red Bull, and they were going on about Callum Nicholas.
Yep.
They were going on about how when Max is driving around a track, especially in 23, he's watching the race on the screens as he's driving.
Yeah. I think drivers would do that in their breaks, but yeah, I'm sure Max is probably like a gun at doing that. But yeah, Russell was good. The Alpines were also good in the race, but sort of
Died off a bit.
Doohan was a bit dogged by that safety car for the debris, and those talking about, well, we shouldn't have a safety car when there's marshals on the track, and there's no gaps. I don't think they're going to take that risk anymore, which is not a bad thing. Norris, I don't want to talk about Norris for a bit. Is
poor racecraft.
Yeah, well, he displayed it in this. He displayed poor, overtaking ability in this race, and it proved to cost him second place, which was, an extra 3 points. So Russell had done 24 laps on those softs in the last stint.
An audacious strategy, as he calls it.
Quoted from the man himself, audacious. But he made it work, and he also had a lot of technical dramas at the end of the race. There was an issue with the brake pedal.
No dash.
He pressed his radio button, he was saying, and the DRS opened, which is, I don't even know how that would happen. And then he defended off Norris. He didn't let him overtake, so props to him for that.
Yep.
That was bloody good. Russell's always around, mate. He's always around.
He's always there.
Yeah, he's always there. Old reliable. So Ferrari's had a decent race, though. Leclerc probably not. He should have bagged a podium starting from where he did, but didn't. And the Ferraris, like we were talking about before, they weren't willing to sort of take that risk to go
Onto the softs.
onto the soft type that last stint, like Russell did.
Played it safe, and I think it hurt them.
Played it, yeah. I'd say so as well. Like
They were going good before that safety car. They were 3-4.
yeah, exactly. And then they banged on those hards, and it proved to be
They lost pace.
it proved to be shit. But to be fair, though, I mean Russell himself thought it wasn't the best move. It's easy to say with hindsight now that it was wrong, but what do you reckon? At the time, hards probably didn't look like the worst option. We didn't know that that'd be a crap race tire. Like,
yeah, well, it's hard because in practice, I don't think they had a practice session, or they probably had one. Whereas in race condition, they had it during the day to night race.
Exactly. Yeah.
Track temps are way different.
Exactly. So, look, we can't speculate. We're not bloody engineers, but they also couldn't go. But this was the thing I was sort of thinking, is what I mentioned before, is that why would they go the double medium stint to close that door?
If you're going to bang a hard one at the end.
Exactly. So they sort of put themselves in a position where it would have been like, let's say if they go on medium to hard, and then it's like, at least you've got that choice of, okay, the hard hasn't worked.
Let's go pick one of three.
Let's go back to the mediums, or if it's too, if there's not enough laps for the medium, we go the soft.
Unless what they might have been planning to do was go medium, soft at the end.
Yeah, well, probably the safety car didn't change.
Yeah, and the safety car threw that
in
the bin.
But still, I just never think it's a good idea to like pigeonhole yourself like that, because you're just leaving it up to chance when it's something like a safety car.
Yeah,
can muck that up, which in the end it did. So Ferrari cooked that up a little bit, I reckon. Piastri, faultless.
Yeah,
like just a straight gun. He was in clear air most of the race and didn't make a mistake.
No.
Didn't make one mistake. So
I'd say he's driven 2 bad corners this year.
Yeah, exactly. So he was absolutely phenomenal and bagged the win as he should. I mean, obviously, look, in my opinion, if Norris was in that same position, he probably would have done the same thing as Piastri.
Yeah,
but
clear air is a game changer.
Here's the thing. Piastri did the lap, took the win. So I feel like that's going to be a bit of a repeat during the year. So Behrman was my driver of the day, which we spoke about before, 20th to 10th. They claimed another double points.
Yeah, your prediction for Williams' best for the rest is
well, they are still the constructors.
I think Haas are ahead of him at the moment.
Well, they were 5th. Let's have a look. Because the last time I checked, they were 5th, but this last race might have put Haas.
I think it's McLaren
up a peg. So so Haas have taken over the Williams by a point for the best of the rest. So it's still close. They also had they didn't finish in the points when Williams really should have finished in the points. The Williams had good pace this weekend, especially with the Sainz. I'd say it was probably Sainz's first weekend where he was really comfortable in the car. So probably just disappointing for them that they didn't get points. And so Haas is now 20, Williams is 19. So Haas has overtaken them. And well done to them for another double points finish. Ocon was P8. Pair of Frenchmen lock
out the
fourth row. Verstappen just got Gasly in the closing stages.
Cam Waters about that one.
Yeah. So Verstappen did well in the end. Gasly did good in defense, but succumbed to the Verstappen attack. No points again for Fernando. Lawson had a stack of penalties. That was cooked. And yeah, I think RB, when RB was sort of a little bit nowhere. Same with obviously Sauber, nowhere again. And major losers for this weekend have got to be Williams without scoring points.
And missing out on Q3.
Exactly. And that was the other thing that we did mention in qualifying.
I saw you scroll past it.
Should have mentioned it, mate. Should have mentioned it. Scroll past it on the run sheet. So yeah, they called the lap after the session.
Yeah.
Was outside track limits. So Albon technically should have been in Q2.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. So
I'd say he had the pace for Q3 as well.
Be fucking pissed if that happened.
Yeah.
You're just setting yourself up for at least a chance to get into Q3, which you probably could have. And you've just lost that because they didn't detect a invalidated lap.
Yeah.
You'd be freaking fuming.
But then you see the broadcasters go, "Oh, he's had 4 wheels off the track there."
Did they comment? I can't remember.
They did.
They were saying it at the time.
It was on the feed.
That's horrific.
Yeah,
you'd be bloody pissed if that happened to you. But yeah, so Tsunoda also points, definitely a winner. Russell always there, like we said, and McLaren win the weekend once again. So overall, definitely a positive weekend for F1 fans, and really comparative to Japan, sort of has refreshed everything and rebirthed the love for a lot of people.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people were turned off after Japan
and China.
Yeah, definitely to some degree China. So this
Test cricket versus ODI.
Yeah. So this was definitely the race that will bring everyone back for Saudi. We've got Saudi this weekend, and yeah, we'll get our predictions up at the end of the week before the weekend starts. And yeah, do you have any other takes or anything about the weekend overall?
Not really, no.
Anything flash come to mind?
No. No final touches. How about you?
My final touches are Bahrain. I want to reiterate how good Bahrain is as a racetrack.
Yeah.
How much it's served up good quality racing.
Yeah.
It really creates good racing.
I think
there's like some degree of where like tracks benefit the racing. Like, you know, a track isn't everything. It's partly the cars, but for cars that are very produce a lot of dirty air, have a lot of aero wash, as F1 cars do, then you sort of need to use, you know, they benefit more from tracks that create better overtaking. Whereas fast straights with long braking zones, with opportunities to overtake, where you can follow the driver in front easily.
Yeah.
Right.
I was a little biased against Bahrain for a couple of years, because they took that opening race from Australia.
Yeah.
I was a bit salty.
Fair enough. I reckon I was too. I reckon I sort of hated it for a bit. Like,
yeah, I looked at it the same way I look at Jeddah, I look at Abu Dhabi.
Like, it's a bit like, I was like, oh yeah, this place is shit. But come to think of it, like, it always produces.
You take the goggles off.
Yeah. The shit-coloured lenses.
Shit-coloured lenses.
And it goes all right.
Yeah.
So that's all we've got for today, guys. Thanks for watching episode 10, the 10th episode in the new studio. So yeah, we'll see you in a couple of days for episode 11 for our Saudi preview. So we will see you then. Ta.